couples that share their story, their experience, their challenges, so that we can learn, glean wisdom from, and even gain inspiration to work at our own marriages and make it better. This program is brought to you regularly by Bridge Afrique, home of BLISS Incorporated, and Panacea Ville International. So we're so glad that you keep a date with us every Thursday as we do this. Today we have another wonderful couple who will be sharing their story. Now, this couple have been married for so long, and I cannot wait to get into this conversation and have them tell us more about their experience so far and what they have learned. They are none other but Reverend Joe and Pastor Mrs. Comfort Adejo. Please welcome them to Rings That Bind. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, Ma, to Rings That Bind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are glad to be with you. We are glad to be with you.
Good evening, viewers.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show today, and we are so grateful that you agreed to be here. Now, the couple, they've been married for 41 years, and they are blessed with 5 children. We want to hear their story. So, but before we delve into all that, can you please just get to introduce yourselves a bit so that our listener will get to know you?
Yes, that's.
Just as you said, I'm Pastor Comfort Adejo.
Mrs.
Pastor Mrs. Comfort Adejo.
Nice
I
to
will
meet
always
you.
I will always like to claim what is mine, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It's allowed.
I'm Reverend Joe Adejo, a husband of one wife.
Yeah, important. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being here with us. I think that is valid these days to say I am married to one wife and she's a female because of the trends and the season we live in. Okay, so on this show, we have a tradition. We want to know a bit of how you met, what made you decide to settle down together. You know, that love story, we want to hear a bit of it.
Wow, I think I should be the one to start this, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Get a wife.
Hey, my introduction is very, very exciting one. You know what? I met her and she was young and Lulu. It was then she gave her life to Christ. And in fellowship, we were close, serving the Lord. Until she became my dear wife. And I love her because she is my darling. I love her every day. I love her because she's my sweetheart. I love her with all of my heart. And here she is. You know what?
Wow.
I came from one place called Acharu in the Kuna local government of Kogi State. God bless the year 1969. I left that place to Lagos. And then when I arrived to Lagos, I found a fellowship called the Upper Room. It's a place where youth gather to study the scripture, to evangelize and send believers to their various churches to express themselves in their various talents.
Mm.
In that particular fellowship, I happened to be endowed with the gift of talking to young girls who give their life to Jesus.
Introducing Panacea Ville,
And,
where love thrives and relationships flourish. Are you ready to embark on a journey of love and fulfillment?
Of course, I was there at a very young age. I left my village at 14 when I lost my dad. Then all other improvements in education happened.
Oh my God, I think we lost them dear. Oh dear. I'm sure they will come back online because I want to hear this. Now, this is so romantic. He's singing for her. Like after 41 years, please, we need this couple to come back so that we can hear what they have done, how they have kept this going, so that 41 years he's still singing for her. Wow, I can't wait. I'm sure you can't too. Let's hope that they come. And then remember that Rings That Bind is brought to you to encourage you to have that marriage that you want. But we don't just do this show. We have a lot of other facilities you can benefit from, especially our coaching programs on Panacea Ville International, which include intervention coaching for people who are married and are in a crossroad. We also have group coaching for to help you overhaul your conflict management system if you are having challenges with effectively managing conflicts. Then we have the premarital counseling for people coming in to the marriage arena so that you are prepared enough for what you're coming to meet. So you can benefit from all that by following Panacea Ville International. And then on BRIDGEAFRIQUE, sorry, excuse me, BRIDGEAFRIQUE magazine is also an in-flight magazine for Ethiopian Airlines. It focuses on businesses in Africa, how they are doing, what they are doing. And for every episode of the magazine, we narrow down to a particular African country to showcase what they have to the world. There are advertisement slots opened on the magazine that you would want to take advantage of if you have a business and you want your business to go global, because it reaches many people from China to across the world. Just think about it. If that magazine is on Ethiopian Airlines, that means everybody that flies Ethiopian Airlines will come across your products, your services, if you choose to advertise on a BRIDGEAFRIQUE magazine. So take advantage of that today and begin your journey to exploring the possibility that lay beyond your shores, beyond where you currently have your customer base. Then we also have a program coming up. It is called 72 Hours of BLISS. That will come up within the year, towards the end of the year. It's a talent hunt, a talent show where we bring in inmates into one house. They are trained on different forms, different kinds of talent, and then they compete. The best from that house would be rewarded with a gift prize. Also would have people who will come second and then third. So the first runner-up and the second runner-up will also be rewarded with cash rewards. You want to know more about that? Stick here. We'll give you the full details, how to register, what to do, and all. And if in case you are not in Nigeria and you're listening to this, don't worry. The first edition will be in Nigeria, but our vision is that this program will eventually go to other African countries and they will benefit from that as well. I believe that, Reverend, that they are back here and we can see them now. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh, we love
Yeah.
you. And I was praying and hoping that you come back. I was saying behind you that for you to be married 41 years and you're still singing this sweet sonorous song, I'm wishing, oh, it's my husband that is singing to me after 41 years. We cannot just lose you like that. We want to hear the full story. We want to get the full gist.
Hey, great. I don't know where I stopped. Yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about the fellowship where you met and that you were ministering to young ladies to give their lives to Christ and all.
That's where I met her. Okay. All right. We continue from there, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. We're with you.
Right. So I was ministering to young ladies to give their lives to Jesus Christ while she was ministering to young men to give their lives to Jesus. So when both of us met, it was a good meeting. And anytime we go on evangelism, we come back together to give reports to each other. The experiences we gather, what we saw, and then we strategize how to overcome any difficult situations we ever met. And we continue like that. We never had in mind that we were going to be wife and husband. And we continued like that. But then, at a point, in fact, there was a time as men come searching for her, she would tell me, look, this man is interested in me. I said, okay, go. But as you go, make sure if he misbehaves by touching you inappropriately, just know that that is not the will of God. And then, of course, I myself who kept giving this advice, I have my own strategy too. If you come to me and you want to kiss me, you can imagine. It's ladies that want to woo me. Can you imagine that? I must be very handsome, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I know you are. Even looking at you right now, we know that you were very handsome then. It would have caused a lot of like traffic jam, like we say.
Yeah. And you know, we continued like that until those who came my way couldn't have their way because it was not working. And those who came her way couldn't get it through because they were not doing the right thing. To be candid, we were brought up purely in a Christian manner, that anything contrary to that was not allowed. And you know something? This is one of the experiences that, I mean, people should know that anything you want, don't just give up quickly on it. There was a day when I began to nurse the idea of telling her that I love her to be my wife. I tried to sample her opinion first by asking her, if you come in contact with somebody from the northern part of Nigeria, would you give him a nod? You know what she did? He used her hand to do like this first, and then pat on the ground and say, God forbid. But she didn't know that I come from the north. That day, that night, I couldn't sleep. I cried. You know, I had one record in my possession that time by Jim Reeves that says crying is my favorite. I put that record and I put it loud, and because I didn't want people to know that I was really crying. So the music overshadowed my voice, and I really cried. But I made up my mind that, look, I'm not going to give up. Because from where I come from, once you say yes to a thing, you go for it.
Mm.
And so one day, I opened my mouth. I said, look, I want to marry you because I love you so much. The chemistry is powerful and nothing can alter it. And she agreed. And oh, that day it was a tree of life for me.
Yeah.
But then there were hurdles to cross anyway. When I met the mom, he took me to her mom. The mom said, look, my pikin wouldn't cross River Niger. That we will not cross River Niger. But the confidence she exhibited in making sure that our relationship works kept me moving. And to cut the story short, okay, there was something I did again. I took her to my village so that she would know where I come from. I didn't go to a hired mansion. I didn't go to hire a car that does not belong to me to show her that this is how I am. I took her to show her how I am. We went to a place where, okay, my father was using table. We were eating on the table. We were not eating on the floor, you know. And then she had the first taste of my mother's meal. You know, we like pepper very well. She ate my mother's food, but she couldn't complain, you know. There was pepper. I don't know if you have that type of experience. But then that was the way we went. And then on February 6th, 1982, we became wife and husband, male and female. Because marriage is not for man and man or woman and woman. No, that one is not approved by God. God would have made two men in those days, isn't it? And make them wife and husband. But he made a man, he made a woman. So anybody who wants at his own, well, the Bible says God made man upright, but men devise their own. So we decided to do what God says. And today we are wife and husband. But then something happened, you know. You can imagine throughout that period, we met. After 5 years, about 4 years, I called her one day. I said, tell me, what do I do that you don't like? What was your answer?
Said nothing.
Nothing. And then she asked me, what do I do that you don't like? I didn't see anything. You can imagine, for you to move with somebody for 4 or 5 years, and you are asking the person, what is it that I do that you don't like? And he didn't find anything. Is it not true that love covers multitude of sin?
Wow, amazing.
That was our case. And then when we got married, we decided to come to the house with one of my brother's daughters, you know, who was 4 years old that time. And, you know, it was an experience that, you see, we were both ignorant about bringing up. No, I was ignorant about bringing up a girl child like that. And so when we started.
So, sir, sorry, I want to cut you a bit here. And the reason is because we'll come back to this. I want to hear this story, but I'm going to cut you a bit so that I can ask your wife just to like chip in a little into that experience, especially when it came to her own mother refusing the crossing over of the River Niger and all. What's her own perspective? What's the perspective and what was it then?
Thank you very much. She can tell her story. Yeah.
Well, I never had a particular choice. or where to marry from. As a Christian, I see everybody as one. And so I never had any favorite, area of favorites where I would say I prefer to marry an Igbo man to others. So all I looked out for in him was that godliness is in him, that perseverance towards serving God. And that was one strong thing I was looking out for, because my mother raised me as a godly child. You know, I remember when I was growing up, I actually didn't know much, but my mom will force me to fast. My mom will make sure I pray. I don't even know how to pray, what to say. Even at the age of 3, my mom will say, kneel down here. My mom will say, we'll fast today. And then she will lock up they call it den, chop cupboard, that's where they store food, cook. And she will say, you will not eat until 12. So my brought me up in the way, if she will read the Bible, I'll sit down there, I'll be hearing. And not all do I really understand. But he showed me the way of God. So as I was growing up, I grew up strong in the Lord. And so I was looking out for somebody that I will see also as one who loves God, as one who is committed to God. So as I saw that in him, and that was okay for me. And I didn't bother whether he was from the north or whether he's Fulani or whatever. So my heart and my spirit embraced it. And here we are today.
Wow, fantastic. So what role, Ma, did you play in convincing your parents to allow you get married?
Oh, I didn't do much. You know, fortunately, I discovered that my mom liked him. But there was this aspect of, they crossed. But as time went on, I don't know. She just forgot about, well, I kept saying my mom. My father was late. So it was my mom and I. But I discovered that, sooner or later, my mom forgot about whether crossing the River Niger or not crossing the River Niger. And then it scales true.
Wow, interesting. Interesting. Okay, so back to your story about the young girl that you brought home at 4.
Yeah. I think that was one of the that was the first challenge we had after our marriage, and it was a painful thing, but it was not for naught. That has, as a result of that, God has launched me into a counseling world, and a lot of things are happening in the ministry. What happened that time was, anytime she does anything wrong and she shouts on her, I will feel, why are you shouting on this small girl? What does she know? And that's all. And before I knew it, the thing began to have effects upon everything that we were doing at home, to the point that the communication in home was completely cut off. And I think what joined us together that period was good morning, good morning. But deep inside my heart, my love for her was there, because my love for her was a genuine one. And there's no amount of trouble, no amount of waters that can quench real love. But then it is what somebody sees that he or she takes, isn't it? Yes, that I have it in my heart and is not expressed was not good enough. So, but thank God it lasted for a year. How did it end? Look, what I'm summarizing wasn't a joke, because there was a time I gave this testimony and the whole church, they were crying. A whole congregation, they were crying. And each time I go there, my eyes seem to dredge with tears, because this is somebody that I cherish so much, and the person will talk to you, you don't answer. Look, silent treatment is one of the most painful things anybody can give to a partner or to a wife or a husband. But then God intervened. It was God himself that intervened, because he saw my heart. You know what happened? My job will normally take me out 2 weeks, and I come back and stay 1 week with her. And that was running for almost 14 years. But within this period of the first year of our marriage, there was a day I came home carrying my portfolio and my suit. And then she came and collected my portfolio from my hand and then took it in. I was trying to remove my jacket. Normally, she would ignore me. I was thinking in my heart, she should ignore me, because our greeting was just welcome, welcome, that's all. And he was helping me to remove the jacket. He removed the jacket and put it on the hanger. And I sat on the bed. Immediately I sat on the bed, I was excommunicated. That is, I became blank to the whole environment, and a television was set in front of me. This one is a divine television. And right from the day I met her, it started to play. I don't joke with her. You know what I mean. I don't want anything bad to touch her. I don't want her to be angry. I want her to be happy. Look, I started seeing all those things. I didn't know that while I was there, 2 hours had passed. I sat on the chair, on the bed there. I was watching, glued to it, not knowing anything that was happening outside the world. And it came to a point when we got married. The film was playing to the point that I started to misbehave, that by not talking to her and all those things. That was the time I busted into tears. I came into myself. Into tears, and I started to cry. And she came in and he said, Joe, what is wrong? Why are you crying? The more she asked me, why are you crying? The more I cried. You know why? I said, I thought she's supposed to be happy. Me, who is treating her the way I treat her. The way I'm treating her, instead for her to be happy that something is paining me, she is asking me what is wrong, to give me succor. You know what? And that was the end of it all. That thing lasted for 9 months. Solid 9 months of pain. But after that, the love has been on the increasing side. To be candid, you can imagine, it's about 40 years now. There's no day, unless minus 1, 2, 3. There's no day we wake up, we do not hug. How do we hug? How are you? And this is it. Like, every morning, as we wake up, sometimes we do it 2 times. As we wake up, we hug. When we do our morning prayer, we hug again. And what do we say when we hug? Hope you had a nice night. I hope all is well. And sometimes I will say, you are fine. You are beautiful. You are, all those words of praise, and it has been on the love has been on the increasing side. And that is my story.
Wow, amazing. So please, I really want us to break this down a bit, because one of our goals here is to help people walk through challenges, like major challenges they've had, and how they can walk through it. So I want us to break this down a bit. Ma, when this girl came, it's obviously an interference in the relationship, and you both were not agreeing on on your disciplinary measures for her. You both felt differently about how to handle discipline. So how did you feel when he spoke to you the way he did in correcting you or expressing his own view about parenting? What was going through your mind? How were you feeling at that time?
To be candid, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I felt so sad, so bad, because men actually don't know how to bring up children. Women are better in bringing up children. And so he felt like I was a child. But I knew I was, because he's not always around bosom of a child. So when children are doing some wrong things, they don't know it's wrong. And so do that. If you just leave the child, it's a child, that childhood, that you get that child right. So I felt so bad. It was hurting me seriously, so much that it brought.
So did you ever confront him? Did you ever talk to him about it? Or
yes, I did, but he was not seeing reasons with me. That's the problem. That was the problem then.
Wow, fantastic. So, sir, in this process, when you felt like she was not listening to you with this child and all, did it make the girl become stubborn? How did she respond? What was the like effect of your disagreement, especially in front of her?
To be candid, I always want her to be with my wife. I tried to remove my hand somehow. It became a silent thing. I became silent. That was it.
So you just withdrew from,
no experience.
No experience. And more so, the child was a relative of his.
Wow.
So that made it more difficult. So anything, a correction from my side was like, why are you treating her like that? Because she is related to him. But not knowing that actually I was doing the right thing. Do you know that the lady is married today?
Wow.
When she was getting married, I remember on the day of her Spencer's night, the testimony she gave about was amazing. So it was like an eye-opener to him. So all she was doing that time was good for this child. For her to stand up and give such a testimony, I was calling me her mom. So most people thought I was really her biological mom.
Wonderful.
So you see, then we were both young, so we really could not handle that challenge. But you know what? I'm so grateful to God because my mom was around then. And so the counsel I received from my mom helped me so much.
The prayer
helped me so much. And my mom will always do 6 to 6 fasting every day. When I bring her food, when I serve her for food, she will say, take this food away. I say, Mommy, why now? She will say, when the house is on fire, you want me to be eating? No way, take the food out. So that also took me back to God. So me too, on my, in my closet, I go to God. I say, God, I asked you, if this marriage is not of you, please don't let me. Even at the moment I'm putting on my wedding gown and standing at the altar, please let something happen to alter this marriage. I said, but God, here am I married. So if it didn't happen there, you didn't alter it, then it means you approved it. So now I'm married. So what's going on? Lord, I come to you, please. I need help. I need solution. And God did it.
Wow, amazing.
And we were reconciled.
I often like stories like this because it makes us see the two sides. Now, of course, if you are a person of faith, before you get married, you would definitely have, you should, or is assumed that you would have done due diligence in seeking the face of God and ensuring that this that you are going into is of Him. But that does not also automatically mean that there will be no challenges that we will face
Yes.
in the process. Because we are
Yes.
human and we have to deal with our humanity that comes to play in the relationship. The both of us will have to walk through that. That
Yes.
is our own part to play
Yes.
to make it work. So I think that that's huge. Now, this lady, did she stay with you all through, or at some point did you people send her away because of this challenge, or she stayed?
Not at all.
No, we didn't.
No.
We didn't.
After that, my film show, that divine film show, the whole thing
Yeah.
ended.
Mm.
Because I
Wow.
loved her. I took her as my own younger sister.
Wow, amazing. Yes, so you were talking about silent treatment. Silent treatment, for our listener, because we've had couples have talked about it, is what we call stonewalling. Like you build a fence between yourself and your partner. Anything
Yeah.
they say, it hits that wall and bounces back to you. The person doesn't respond either in facial expression, body language, and there's no response at all. That's what this silent treatment is. Ma, tell me, please, as somebody who has been in a relationship and has experienced this painful stonewalling from a dear and loving partner, can you express in words how it feels to be in that place where somebody treats you like that?
Girl. That kind of hurting, I don't know what example I could really use to explain what it's like. You know, it's like a heaviness on, on my heart. I was burning. I was being eaten up within me. Because when he comes back from work, he will just pick his newspaper. Then it was newspaper. It was cheap enough. And he will have like about 4 different newspapers, Daily Times, Vanguard, all of them, Punch and so on. He will just be reading his newspaper. The only greeting is welcome, welcome, good morning, that's all. And when I bring out food, I set the food on the table, he will not come to eat. He will reject it. And so because he rejected it, his own junior brother who visited us temporarily will not also eat. It's like when my brother didn't eat, why should I eat? Not because I wronged him. So you could see that it was a terrible pain. I was like in the midst of people, but alone. And my mom that I could freely talk to just said, the house is on fire, just leave me alone. She will lock up herself in the room and be praying. So I was just alone by myself. So it was really, really hurting.
Wow.
Really, really hurting. And it was a lonely world. So it's not what I will even wish my enemy to experience. But I thank God. God brought me out of it. By wisdom, because I continued. Every day I cook. Despite the fact, as long as he's in the house. Every day I could. Not that I will want the old food. I will cook new one every day. And when I serve it, he will not eat.
Even that time,
I will eat the one that I
don't
can
believe
eat.
I can eat overnight food.
So one thing is that the wisdom of God, I triumphed by it. I triumphed by it. It helped me. The life of God in me, that's the Holy Spirit, helped me because it was not easy. My flesh was trying to revolt at a time. There was a time I was ready to leave. I packed out everything that he bought for me with his money because I was working before I married him, before I left Lagos to come. So I separated everything he bought for me and left the things I bought for myself and the things that my mom bought for me. I locked it. I padlocked. In those days, is not this fanciful box. Is this
iron box?
That was the rainy type then. and then you use padlock, one small padlock, and padlock it.
Yeah, I
So that
remember
was
that.
what I did. I kept everything that is mine that I knew he didn't buy from inside the box and padlock it. Everything, my small money that I have inside it. And each time I'm going to have my bath, the key of the padlock is tied to my wrapper so that he will not have access to it to open my box. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So it was like as if, hi, no. It was a terrible situation. Very, very terrible. And I remember the day I told him, I said, please call your mother. Send a message to, it wasn't called because there wasn't a GSM then. I said, send a message to the village. Tell your mother to come and take care of our baby, our son. Then my son was 2 weeks. It was as bad as that. My son was 2 weeks. Even when I was pregnant, the silent treatment continued. Then I remember one day that the junior brother said, brother, change this woman's hospital. You know, it's another man's child. Change her hospital so that they check her very well. Because then I was already 10 months gone. Pregnancy, over 9 months. So it was overdue. But because of all this silent treatment of 18, no, everybody was minding his own business, his or her own business. But I thank God we listened to the junior brother. And we changed the hospital. And I remember that night we got there, the doctor had scan on me and said, that night, I must come in to have delivery. Why? He said, any moment later than that day, the child will die. And it is true, because when I finally gave birth to that child by inducement, the child was almost black. Almost black. And did not cry. Took a while. They had to bring oxygen, did many things to resuscitate the child. So you can see what silent treatment can do. And even when I gave birth, it still continued. Even the joy of even having a child or a son was not complete.
His mood at all.
Was not really complete, because I remember there was a time we went to the hospital. And I took myself, I left home, because it was like as if I was sensing death. But I don't understand. I told my mom, I said, I'm going to the hospital. And so when he was in the house, when he looked like he didn't see me, I asked. And then my mom told him that I said I was going to the hospital. Then he entered his car and met me on the way. When he stopped, I was having double thought. Is it to enter his car or just to trek to the hospital? For you to know how bad it was. But I had a second thought. I entered the car. He took me to the hospital. When we got there, they told him, they said, Oga, your wife no get blood. That was it. Before they were able to get a little sample of blood out of my body for test, it was difficult. So they told him, say, Oga, your wife no get blood, short of blood. So it was at that point also that he knew the gravity of what was going on. But we thank God. God used all these experiences, and both the one that he earlier narrated, to bring us together. And he apologized. And when he was apologizing, do you know what? Because it took all these months, I didn't really believe him. I thought he was pretending. It took me a while to believe, because a man that could keep silent treatment with a lady that he so loved and so on and so forth, that long, and then he's now, he knelt down and he was apologizing. I didn't believe it. But I thank God. I decided to say, okay, I forgive. But it took me a while. Even when I said I forgave him. It took me a while.
Yeah, I can imagine. It will definitely take a while to heal. All that pain. Yes. Yeah. So please, I want to come to you. I want to ask, I'm curious. So while this was going on, your child was born, your first child was born, and all
Yes.
the excitement of the birth and all, didn't it make you want to feel like you should talk to your wife again, or like feel close to her and pull you out of this place that you were?
I'm feeling like crying now. You see, because each time I go back to that era, this thing we are talking about happened
The first year.
the first year of our marriage. And each time I remember those things, it changed my mood. And I feel so bad that it happened. But the truth is that, like Paul will say I think it's in the book of this 2 Corinthians chapter 2 or thereabout, where he says, all the tribulations I went through, and I went through, so that I can, through that comfort I get from God, to comfort others who are going through the same situation. I think that is the joy that I have. So my 1 year tribulation, I tell you, if it is any other marriage, it will not stand. I'm telling you the truth. That marriage will not stand, because I know the intensity. Me, who went through it, and thank God, it is God Almighty who sanctions things, that intervened. And immediately after that film show, divine film show, playing my life story to me. And then at the end, from that hour when I cried at the end of the film, and that was the end. And I tell you, I want to let everybody know that sometimes what happens in a home that makes wife and husband to be at loggerheads, ask two of them, they may not even be able to explain. Sometimes they may not even be able to explain. They just hate each other. What is the reason? No reason. Because marriage is one of the things that the enemy hates to see it stand. But today, it is a lesson that I am teaching a lot of people, and many homes are being reconciled. In fact, it may interest you to know that some months ago, a man came to phone. I didn't even get to see him or to see the man. He called me, said, look, I parted with my wife 5 years ago. My wife is in the east, I'm in the north. I don't want to be specific because it is their testimony. Yeah. And but I know if they listen and they see me, they know I'm talking about them. But nobody will know I'm talking about them. That's why I'm saying this. And he said, look, I need my wife. I said, okay, how did you separate? He said, we were quarreling and the wife packed and left me. And since then, we have been staying apart, having children. And I said, okay, can you give me the number of your wife? He gave it to me. And I called the wife. And I said, the person on this side is Reverend Joe Adejo. And I said, I want to tell you that your husband is not sleeping because of you. He wants you. He said, is it a reverend calling me? I said, yes, I am Reverend Joe Adejo. He said, because you are the one calling me. He never knew me. He said, but because you are the one calling me, tell him to send me transport money and I will come back. But give me a month to round up my business here. And today they are together in Kaduna here, happy. So what God is doing as a result of my 1 year experience, which I don't pray anybody should have. But I tell you the truth, what is happening today is another dimension, because when I hear a man called loud like a woman, I'm sorry to use that word, as if only women cry. Men are crying now. Men crying. Look, I trained this girl and he's calling me useless. This type of thing shouldn't be. And because most of these things happen because no counseling. And I tell you, a lot of good things are happening in counseling space. And we, look, me, I had no idea of, to be candid, let me tell you this. A night to our wedding, I went to my pastor to ask my pastor, I said, how do man and, because I never knew what it means to sleep with a woman. In spite of the fact that all my friends, most of my friends for that 5 years were girls. Even on her side, they were boys. So my pastor couldn't tell me anything. He said, just go, it is natural. I said, what is natural?
Wow.
Today, a lot of things are not going right. But God is going to use us, including you already, to straighten some things that are not going right. So my marriage today is sweet and sweeter plus. And we are still on.
Amazing, amazing. Joining us, we have been talking with Reverend and Pastor Mrs. Adejo. They've been sharing their story. I love this couple so much because they're so honest. Like, they brought it right down. You know, one thing that I value with relationships and people sharing the truths and their challenges is that it helps another person. Like Reverend just quoted the scripture from Paul that says, it is with the consolation we receive that we are able to console others. But if we keep our stories hidden, people will not know that it's possible to walk through these challenges. If it was left to the course that we are taking this time around, the course that we follow, this marriage wouldn't have reached a year. But today is 41 years. Imagine all the beautiful things that have come out of that marriage that started in a way that looked like it was going to fail. And then Reverend just said something really powerful about seeking help and getting counsel. Now, because I also think that is new, so people are still trying to get used to it and begin to open up to get help. But like before, people just got married. Once, the only thing pastor will ask you, is she born again? Is he born again? Does he love God? Does she love God? And then nobody is teaching all the other little things about living together, the part of our humanity that plays out when we get married. And you know, pastor just made mention of that. And we thank God that right now God is raising people across board to reach out and help people build this capacity so that when they get married, they also have the skill set to handle the challenges that come along with marriage. If anybody had told Reverend, I'm sure before he was getting married, that when you get married, your first 1 year, the both of you will be in mental torture, I'm sure he would not believe it. He would be like, no, I love her, she loves me. What will happen?
In fact, those who if that kind thing happened, even though we passed through it, we knew it.
Wow.
Do you know one of my greatest joy? One of my greatest joy is children have not come before that thing happened.
Yeah.
The most terrible thing for children to experience is when children are seeing their parents in that type of situation. Yeah. They are not learning anything good. And but my own, unless I tell them, they don't know anything. In fact, as I'm saying it now, some of them are hearing it. You know?
Wow. Amazing.
But then, thank God.
Yes, and it's quite true, because it would have left a scar with the children growing up in that environment, seeing that. And God was gracious that it had passed, that season had passed in your relationship before this. Thank you so much. So quickly, before we round up, we have this segment where we ask short questions and just want to get your feelings for fun. Is also to just enjoy something and laugh through this, right?
Okay.
So let me start with you. Sir, what is your wife's favorite memory verse?
Ah, what a difficult one. My wife is a lover of the Bible. If you pick anyone, you would take it to the end. You will pick another one and take it to the end. You don't even know which one he takes it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He's a wordite.
So, do you have a favorite verse? If you have at all.
I don't know. Please tell me if you usually have anyone. The Bible is our stronghold, and he showed everything like that.
I have.
Okay.
Okay, so please tell us. We want to know.
Psalm 103. 103. And then another one is Psalm 23.
Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. At least I know that one. I don't know 103 what it is, but I know the Lord is my shepherd is Psalm 23. Amazing. All right. So,
my soul, Psalm 123. Bless the Lord, oh my soul.
And all that is within
me. Interesting. Okay. So, Ma, who is your husband's closest friend at this point in his life?
When you talk about friend, this man happened to be just an open person. But to say this is his best friend, he doesn't have. He doesn't have, except myself is his best friend.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. I can't.
She is my everything. She is my all.
Wow. I'm thinking into that 40 years, when we are 41 years married, we will also be this like romantic, this into each other. I'm keen into this big time. Okay, Ma, what's your husband's hobby?
Hobby. He likes to sing.
Yeah, we sing that.
He likes to sing.
Okay, so sir, finally to you, where was she born? What town? What state was she born?
My wife?
Yes, sir.
My wife is from Atuma, but she was born in Ibadan. I mean, she was born in Lagos, in Victoria Island. She was born in Lagos, but she's from Atuma, Ocha local government.
Okay. Wow. Amazing. Okay. So finally, as we round up, I want to ask.
I know the place very well.
Okay. All right. As we round up, I want to ask, what would be your recommendation to couples who are watching us, who are married and are listening right now? What would be your advice to them? Oh my God, it seems I lost them again. I was hoping that they could give us their last word, tell us what their advice would be to each and every one of us. I'm sure you have learned something from this episode. I'm sure that this episode has been beneficial to you. There's something you are taking home from this episode. One of which I'm taking home is the need to seek help, to have counsel, and to when we hit a bump, when we hit a rock, and we are uncertain as to how to handle it, instead of staying and dying in silence, we seek help. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Ama. Are you here? Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Hello.
Oh, yes,
We are back.
your screen is turned a bit.
Eh? Okay.
The screen is turned. All right, fantastic. Yeah, so we were waiting to hear your recommendation for people who are married and are young in the marriage relationship. What would be your advice to them?
Yeah, from my end, I strongly recommend that wife and husband should act first as friends. When two people that are married are friends together, there will be nothing they will hide from each other. So a friend will say all. And then when there is communication, the problem, if there's any, is almost solved. And then I recommend also that husband shouldn't see the wife as inferior. Actually, wife and husband are equal. They have equal rights. The difference is that man has authority as ordained by God for him to give direction. But then the woman is also ordained to help. And I say to them, if you stand alone as a husband, your power stands at 1,000. But if you allow your wife to join you to help you, you are raised to power 10,000, which means your helper is coming in with 9,000 while you are 1,000. So if you leave your wife behind, you are leaving successes behind.
Wow. Yes, ma. That was powerful. Yes, ma.
My advice is that they should learn to forgive each other easily and be humble. Forgiveness, because without forgiveness, you keep living in hurt.
True.
And the Bible says that if you do not forgive yourselves, your prayers will be hindered. Even your Heavenly Father will not forgive you. You know, forgive one another. And then let your love be practical, not just in words.
Yeah.
Let it be practical. You know, there's one thing Daddy and I do. We compete.
Yeah.
You know, he will show me his own love practically, either he gets something for me or appreciate or one thing or the other, and I would think, oh, how best can I also do? Let me do that his own too. You know, when you have such kind of mind, you find that it will not be easy for you to carry hurt. So let your love be practical. Learn to forgive easily. Let your spouse be your friend. This is my
Thank
advice.
you. Yeah, thank you so much. You've heard it from them. They say, forgive, let your love be practical. The both of you are one. The both of you are equal, and you work together. You have different roles you play, but you are equal. So, man, if you leave your wife behind, you are leaving 99, you are leaving 9,000 blessings away, and you are holding only to 1,000. I think that is powerful. We want to thank you, Reverend Joe and Pastor Comfort, for taking out time to be here with us, to share with us your story. We appreciate you so much, and we value the time that you have spent with us today on the show.
Thank you very much.
You.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir. So, listeners, that's all it has been today on Rings That Bind. We'll come your way again next week. We'll have another couple. They'll be sharing their story, and we will be here learning and improving. Hope you will join and keep a date with us. From all of us is goodbye and have a blessed night's rest.